All right, it's Christian Carlson from
That's right.
Northeast Trollers. Tell me a little bit about Northeast Trollers.
Yeah, so Northeast Troller's been in business for about 9 years.
Mhm.
Our main market is the Central Maine. Like our hometown is in Central Maine, so
Mhm.
we do a lot of the Northeast stuff. Hence Northeast Troller.
Mhm.
So for us, originally it started off with brook trout, lake trout, landlocked Atlantic salmon, rainbows and browns, that kind of stuff. And then about 3-4 years ago, we started coming out to the Great Lakes and made some inroads there, and so doing some of the bigger pattern stuff. And here we are.
You say bigger pattern stuff.
Yeah.
What are we making?
Yeah, so 3.5-inch spoons, 3 3/4, 4.5-inch mag spoons, paddle flashers, 10-inch or 11-inch paddle flashers, fish flashers, lake trout dodgers, all of that good stuff.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Very cool. Tell me about, so you started in Maine.
Yep.
And tell me about some of the fisheries up there that
Yeah.
you guys were working in before you went to the Great Lakes.
Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned, brook trout is a big deal for Maine. We have some absolutely gorgeous brook trout. Sebago Lake, Moosehead Lake especially.
Mhm.
There's been some absolute monsters that have been caught out of there. I think I personally saw one that was like 7 pounds 4 ounces. So
That's a giant.
That's a giant. Yep, that's a real one for sure.
For sure.
So that's a great fishery up there, and we have we'll say an up and coming brown trout fishery. We're using that C4 Ellen strain like you guys have been using for years, and we're starting to see a lot bigger fish coming from that. So that's exciting for us for sure.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about trolling some of those lakes.
Yeah.
What
Like what are you looking for?
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, when people in this room and most of the people that are listening think about trolling, they're thinking about big water trolling. What's it like to go and troll on a smaller inlet lake?
Yeah, before I moved to Maine, I lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Mhm.
So Lake Superior was, literally at our doorstep. And so there was a difference for sure in trolling techniques on something like Lake Superior to a lake that's, 700 acres or something like that. So a lot of tight real estate for your downrigger lines or, running lead. I mean, a lot of the old timers out there will fish for lake trout. They call them toad by putting all of the colors of lead out there, dragon bottom, real slow, big Murray style spoons, old school spinner blades with suckers or whatever.
Mhm.
And so that was something to kind of like learn, test out, feel out, and get reacquainted to that type of fishery. But a lot of the general gear is the same, just we end up using it a little bit differently and kind of smaller scale than anything you see here.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a cool fishery for sure.
Casey, you got questions for Christian?
I like the lobsters from up there in Maine. I don't, I went up there and did some lobster fishing. I have several clients that come down and bring me lobsters. And do you eat lobster?
Listen, man, I don't eat fish. I don't eat lobster. I know. It's a weird
Chickens,
deal, isn't it?
chickens, pigs, cows, and something else, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not even a philosophical deal. If those things were built out of steak, no problem.
So you've tried it and you don't eat it?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I know. Yeah. That's why we're sitting on this couch here, Casey. Go ahead and prod around.
I didn't know about that.
I know.
That's new to me.
It changes things, doesn't it?
No, the beard's I'm still sold with the beard, No, so he comes down and fishes with another guy out of where I fish, and
shout out Captain Mike.
You can shout him out.
All right.
I'm not shouting him out. Sorry, Mike. I like you and all, but whatever.
Like that.
No, he's a good dude. But I see this guy's beard go by, and I'm like, who is that guy? And then I call up the guy's boat he's on, and then I realize who it was. So I was intrigued by having the beard, and to be honest with you, he's made a good product. I mean, I obviously pro staff for some other companies, probably his competitors.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I think there's enough room for everybody out there to
Absolutely.
have some of the market, and that's why I thought it'd be cool to get him on here. And he was a taxidermist. He was sending back fish that looked like ducks, so.
Mhm.
That pretty much ended out real quick, you know what I mean? You can only get away with telling somebody that's a toad and it has feathers for so long, so he got rid of that. But I think he makes a great product. He definitely has some cool ideas, and that's what's cool about the fishery is like the more guys that you can get pumping new ideas into it and different patterns, it's intriguing. It's like, look at that. Why didn't I think of that? Or that works, and it's cool to see. Like I like that he has a passion to do it, and even though I don't pro staff for him, he's always been awesome to me. Shake my hand, say hi, like bust balls, on the other boats and everything like that. Like, I like that. I like people like that. I don't know him that well, but he seems like a good guy. So until he's not a good guy, he's okay with me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm super thankful for just you know, to Casey's point, I'm not looking for a fisherman to be a walking infomercial for me. For you know, if I can have a single product that's hanging on their spoon pad, that's amazing. You know, I think it's an incredible deal just to be able to edge into the fishery down here and to make some inroads, make some friendships and that kind of stuff. And I realize that there are you know, there are industry connections that run really deep, and that takes time and all of that kind of stuff. But it's been really, really awesome to make new friends and meet new people and make connections and network and all of that kind of stuff. And it's still you know, in getting catch pictures from customers or captains or whatever it is, I still get that dopamine hit. Like I was actually on the boat, you know, to see one of my lures, you know, fire and take fish for people. So yeah, that's really exciting.
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about, you know, Casey said he likes stuff that's cool and different. What are you doing that's differentiating yourself? What's he talking about when he says something cool?
So I think one of the things that is helpful for us is like we're not a gigantic company. I mean, you see most of the company right here. My family also helps do a lot of it, but we're small enough to be nimble. So if Casey or another fisherman or a captain has an idea of like, okay, I have this wild idea, let's try this thing. A lot of the custom patterns that I have now have been, you know, kind of harebrained ideas where I just try this and see how it goes. So being able to do custom stuff kind of on the fly quickly has certainly helped sort of leverage us into the industry out here a little bit. So you know, glow is a very important deal. UV is a very important deal. We've upped our game on our glow stuff. So we have a very, very bright glow starting this year. We've retooled a lot of things to try to get the maximum impact with that. And so, you know, for customers that are looking for custom, you know, painted stuff, I'm always into that kind of stuff. Get my Facebook or my website. But we're, you know, trying to blend some old industry patterns that people know and love, and then give them a new tweak and do some different stuff with them for sure.
So there's this website, northeasttroller.com. You can go on there and check out all of the new products he's putting out and some of your favorites too. Tell me about what are some of the things that are on there that are kind of your most popular products?
So Lake Ontario, there are a handful of different products. One is the Confused Carlson, and I'll let you figure out however that one came to be named.
Probably from going from taxidermy business
to
the
whole duck lake trout thing. I mean,
definitely got to be confused.
Marijuana is legal in Maine. Not saying he does it. Not saying he does it, but that could have been, you know, that's
paint fumes are strong, right? That's the thing.
It's definitely
that Confused Carlson actually was named a different thing at one point in time, and there's one particular captain who we may have named before out of Mexico Bay. Captain Mike, shout out down and tight. That ended up calling it the Confused Carlson on the radio, and then it just kind of like went that way. So I've got stores that were asking for it, other captains calling it that, so I had to change the name. So the Confused Carlson is a real popular one, as well as the Down and Tight spoon. That's another very, very popular one. And if you can't catch a fish on either of those two spoons, there's, you know, probably should just go back for the docket.
Tell me about those spoons. What do they have?
So the Confused Carlson is a bright glow front and back, and it's got some green and black and crushed ice on it. So there's some UV reflectivity as well as that bright glow. I also make that in the yellow pattern, and then for my Lake Michigan guys, I've been doing it in blue as well, and it's inspiring out there. Brian from Big Lake Little Boat, I think you might be watching. I know that you caught a massive king on that spoon last year. And then the Down and Tight is a very similar to a Die Hard kind of pattern. It's got a yellow nose, a black edge, and then some yellow tape going across, but the whole spoon is glow. And then it's got that hex nickel back on it. And so it's a pretty versatile spoon in very slight conditions as well. And that's been a really good one for kings and browns. And there's been steelhead caught on that as well for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned Brian from Big Lake Little Boat. He's a Lake Michigan guy.
He is, yeah.
Tell me about kind of where you're shipping these things.
Yeah, so I'm super thankful to be creeping out more and more westward all the time. And so guys like Brian and Max from Big Lake Little Boat have been really, really helpful. They've got a great YouTube channel, and that's certainly helped spread the word. And then here on Lake Ontario, we're in a number of different shops and more coming this year. And then we're always shipping them, you know, from our website as well. And so I know that we've got product all over the Northeast, here in the Lake Ontario region, and then as far west as Wisconsin. Actually, there's a shop out there that carries our product as well. And
So every lake, every area kind of has its like, you need this color, you need this pattern for this area. What have you seen as far as what you're shipping to different places?
Yeah.
As far as different patterns, different colors.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There are so many like different variables that go into it as well. It seems to me that especially like the Mexico Bay guys here on Lake Ontario, if it's not yellow, if it's not bright chartreuse yellow, you're kind of missing the boat. Green obviously is a standard here on Lake Ontario, and then certainly, I mean, this is no secret. Blue on Lake Michigan is kind of it, and so anything with a little flash of blue and some glow will do. Although Brian and Max have been killing it with the Coho Killer Spoon, which is a bright chartreuse and orange, and they did really, really well on that last year as well.
Yeah, orange is a big deal.
Yeah.
In that neck of the woods,
Yep.
especially in the spring, everybody wants orange.
Yeah, yeah, and that spoon was on fire. I think for the most part, if it swims, that spoon caught it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't need to tell any secrets or anything like that, but how do you make a spoon? Tell me about that. Like what that process is.
Yeah,
like.
there's a handful of different ways that certain companies will go about it. So I don't physically own my dyes, but I own the rights to all my dyes. It gets run through a stamp, and it can be a bunch of different types of metal: nickel, silver, brass, gold, and then we hand paint every single one of those buggers. And so you start off with whatever paint scheme it is that you're working for, and then tapes come in, plenty of clear coat to keep the whole thing buttoned down.
Yeah. What does your day look like on a normal day?
Wake up and go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of work to do, and check the website and try to hustle out some mail orders, and then usually towards the evening getting stuff pre-painted for the upcoming season or where the season is changing. In Maine, it seems like our seasons are starting earlier and earlier in the year. This is a little bit different. Winter actually came back this year, which I'm thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going out to the shop, painting spoons. I do all the split ringing, and then my wife and daughters do the packaging and that kind of stuff. So kind of trying to keep everybody moving and going in a consistent, smooth process. And then we're a friend of mine. If you've been to any of the shows, you've met my buddy Pete. Pete is an innovator for sure, and so Pete and I are always talking about different things that we can maybe bring to the market or different spins on things, and so you guys will see some of that this coming year for sure.
Casey, what do you got for Christian?
I just think it's really cool how you got into it. Obviously you had a passion for fishing to get you to start making the products, and then I like how you hit the ground rolling and have expanded. It's been cool to watch you grow. I like that, and like I said before, I pro staff for your competitors, and he was cool enough to come to me and ask me if I wanted to run something, and it wasn't like he forced it down my throat, Chris. He actually asked, and I just told him, I said, listen, I appreciate it, and he wasn't asking me to talk about it or anything. Like, he just said, here, I said, I'll be honest with you, I won't use it because I'm loyal to who I'm loyal to, and there was a respect there, and that's why I actually have become friends with him and been able to talk to him. It's fun. He's a good dude, and I like that. But it's cool to watch him follow his dream, and that's cool for anybody, no matter what it is. And I like seeing that happen and watching it happen. It's cool.
Yeah, the dream thing's kind of real. Probably most of the guys that are watching now, I started fishing when I was little, and I think I was in second or third grade when I got my first fly rod, and when I was 12 or 13, started picking night crawlers and selling them off the side of the road, and we lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan at the time, and one thing led to another, and I couldn't pick night crawlers fast enough, and so started dealing with wholesalers and that kind of built, and then started doing trap and bait and offering that, and so and did a little bit of tackle crafting at that point in time, just worm harnesses for walleye and that kind of thing. But I've always loved fishing, and I've always had an interest in the fishing industry, and so honestly, just being a little slice of it is a dream come true.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We were talking with Stephanie a little bit earlier about a lot of us being in our 50s. You're not in your 50s. You look around this room here right now, you see a lot of guys with gray hair walking around. You're a younger guy.
Yeah. I'll be 40 in July, but I'll take that.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the beard that's
Yeah.
throwing you off.
Well, it used to be too. It used to be like if I didn't have facial hair, I looked like a baby, and there's a little more white happening in there, so that's gonna go the other
Maybe
way.
that'll be a spoon for you, baby face.
There's yeah, you
This year's 2020 special, baby face.
That's right.
Just tell me a little bit about what it's like to be. Does that make you a millennial?
I
You're
think so,
40,
or
I
like
think
right
so.
on the edge of an Xer or
Okay.
a millennial. Yeah.
All right.
Listen,
What's
you know
like
what?
to be in this
He's not,
industry?
even if he breaks the rules for millennial because he actually works and
Yeah.
gets stuff done.
Yeah.
And he's a go-getter. Millennials aren't go-getters. If you're a go-getter millennial, you could run this place.
Yeah.
You could run
Start
this
to come, and they will.
They will, 100%.
Yeah.
They're
Shout out to
gonna
my go-getter.
they're gonna take. Yeah,
Yeah.
get it. If you're
Yep.
getting it, go get it because it's yours to take. There's too many lazy people that don't want to get it. But it's cool to see, like, he's got a family, but he still makes time to do it, and he's passionate about it. And like,
Mhm.
once again, another guy. You don't know the amount of hours that he's actually putting in doing this, but his day doesn't stop. It's not a 9 to 5.
Not at all.
It's wake up and stress about it all day long and take the phone calls. And like, I know from some of the shops that I've worked with him, he's very good with them. If he says he's going to do something, he's getting it done. Guys that run his products, say, can't speak highly enough about you. How great you are to deal with, and generous and all that. Your time and your efforts that you put forward to them, and that's what it's about. It's a small community, and you want to keep the good guys, Chris, in the circle.
Mhm.
The bad guys, you need to expose and get rid of.
Yeah, I think for me it's just a huge honor,
Yeah.
honestly, to have people run my product and have trust in me. I think it's just a huge honor to have a seat at that table.
Well, we appreciate coming in and having a seat with us,
Thank you so much.
chatting with us.
Appreciate
It's
it.
good to meet you, and I'll have to swing by and see your booth
Sounds
here
good.
later on today.
Look
But
forward
really
to it.
appreciate you coming in. And it's Northeast Troller, Christian Carlson,